Hi everyone, it's Lily Douse here at AIBC Asia 2023 and also Sigma as well. There's so much going on here today and it's a pleasure to be joined by Kelvin Lester Lee. You are part of the Securities and Exchange Commission for the Philippines and here we are in the Philippines. So why don't you explain a little bit about your role and what your company is doing here in the Philippines?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Lily. Well, technically we're a commission, so we're actually a government agency. So maybe the closest approximation would be the UK FCA, if you're familiar with them. No? So essentially our job is we regulate the capital market. We also help secure investor protection for our constituents. We're also the first stop for people who want to incorporate and do business in the Philippines. So ease of doing business, for instance, is also very important to us. But our primary role at this stage, the way I look at it, at least, is investor protection. So excuse me. Sorry, that went down the road. So essentially on the investor protection side, we try to make sure that the financial system and the investments that come out that are issued in public, that are offered in public, are safe for investors. So that's I think our number one role, keeping investors safe as much as possible.
Perfect. And obviously here in the Philippines, there are lots of regulations coming and changing and adapting to the ecosystem. So how do you stay on top of things as part of your commission, and how do you incorporate, blockchain with legislations?
Well, we have not yet incorporated blockchain, no, Lily, but we are looking at that. There is actually one project. I can't discuss the details of it yet because it's still fairly, it's still in the works, no, but and it's sensitive. But we are looking at implementing and using blockchain within one of our projects, within one of our systems within the SEC. And that's a major thing. In fact, I was mentioning earlier at the panel that there's an unofficial race among the government agencies on who can digitalize first or use blockchain first officially, rolling it out officially. So we try not to talk about it to each other, but certainly it's top of mind because we all know that blockchain is one of the better, more efficient systems that are out there. We are aware of its use cases. We are aware of how, if implemented correctly, it could potentially be game changing in relation to regulation, in relation to government services. So certainly it's there. It's something we all want to look at. It's something in government we all want to deploy one way or the other.
Amazing. So yeah, I think there's so much potential here in the Philippines. We've been speaking about it so much, about how this market really holds a key into Asia as well, that it really is the fundamentals of kickstarting things. So really your commission is here to help bring that on board, but do it in the correct manner.
That's right. The focus is on being pro-innovation, or at least being open to innovation. But as always, as I mentioned, keeping in mind the key pillars of our functions, investor protection, financial stability, making sure the market is safe, making sure the market is stable.
And what do you see as the future here in the Philippines as things develop? How do you see things developing? Obviously, you're going to be at the core of that. So what do you hope to bring more to the Philippines and encourage to come to the Philippines?
Well, we're looking at least for me, so a lot of this stuff is still new in relation to some of the investments that I've seen that are coming in from abroad. But there are a lot of investment products that can be digital asset connected, among other things, that I'd like to see deployed here in the Philippines. From what I'm hearing, a lot of investments, a lot of issuances are waiting for the right regulatory framework. So I'm happy to say that we're working on a lot of them. There's actually a very heavy pipeline of frameworks that my team is working on, that one of my departments is working on. So certainly it's going to be a busy year, actually.
We always love to hear that. I think especially in the blockchain space, it's amazing to hear that there's so much going on behind the scenes to ensure that people feel safe when they're utilizing the blockchain, because people do get a bit frightened when they hear any terms of digital transformations. It really is scary to them. And how about in terms as well as Web3, so NFTs, metaverse, is there quite a lot going on in that realm? Is that something you're not really too involved in or you can't talk about?
I've had challenges with NFTs a few years ago. I don't know if you're familiar, there was actually this entity that was claiming to be issuing NFT related issuances. But anyway, the question there, in my opinion, is whether or not we should regulate NFTs. And I've actually had conversations with some of my ASEAN counterparts on NFTs. And the consensus seems to be, also unofficial, is that if the NFT operates like a stock or a security or an investment, then of course we'll have to regulate it like an investment. But if the NFT is used as art, simple art, then more than likely we'll leave it alone. You know, it's not the most elegant of solutions. Admittedly, it's actually a very labor-intensive solution because that means you'd have to look at each NFT individually.
Yeah.
You'd have to assess each NFT individually. But that seems to be the more palatable, barring any regulations that will come out. No, that seems to be the more palatable compromise currently. No, so that's at least that's how we're looking at it now. For now.
Yeah, that does seem very difficult because you actually have to then make sure people aren't just saying, oh, well, it's only artwork, and then they're adding utilities to it and start putting financial responsibilities behind an NFT, which then becomes a bit of a grey area. We really are a very new industry, and I think that's what's so exciting, but also sometimes a bit scary. And I can imagine, even for you, there's no framework that's being put out before this. So really, it is on your shoulders in a way, in the nicest way possible, but still, there's not much. You can take pieces of other industries, but this is a new industry, so you're learning as you go.
Well, to be fair, Lily, not just on my shoulders. We have a team. I have strong. I like to think I have a strong team, and then of course there's the other commissions and our chairman. We're all pro innovation, and then there are many lawyers, many specialists in the SEC that works on this. But yes, it is new. And a lot of it, bluntly speaking, although we shouldn't really be saying this. Sometimes we're not sure what to do because this is new. Most of this is unprecedented, and in government regulation, more often than not, you look for previous experience, you look for precedent. So far, our one of our steps when we regulate things like this is we look at the different benchmark. We benchmark against different jurisdictions. Admittedly, there are some jurisdictions that are more advanced than we are, than the Philippines. So the UK, for instance, we looked at. I was there a few months ago. We actually spoke to my counterpart agency, and then we looked at their regulations. We asked for advice on how to implement regulations. So it is possible. No, even if we don't know, there are others in our field who might know, and we ask for advice. We're not too proud that we just say we know all the solutions. Of course not. We ask, we benchmark, and we learn as much as possible. We learn. We in fact, speaking of the UK again, we in fact have a standing commitment with the University of Cambridge Center for Alternative Finance, where they train and we learn from them in relation to this space, the fintech space, the blockchain, among others. So there's a lot of learning going on, precisely because sometimes you're not sure how to regulate unless you're the appropriate capacity building.
No, that's I love your honesty there of talking about it, and two, I do really believe that this industry is coming together and supporting each other because, as you say, you need someone to speak to. If you're not sure of the answer, there will be someone hopefully out there that can give you that answer or at least give you some support. So I always say it to anyone, whether it's not you're starting out in blockchain and you want to learn the simplest thing, reach out to people, come to people. The reason that you're doing what you're doing in innovation, the reason you're winning our awards in innovation is because of the fact that you're there at the forefront of, teaching people, helping guide them, helping them set up businesses. So it's really exciting what you're doing. And obviously we are here at the AIBC/Sigma event here in Asia. So what did you look forward to seeing here today? What has brought you here and what entices you to stay here?
Well, I'm here because I was invited to speak at the panel actually, but and then I came to the interview. So I have unfortunately not had time to go around yet. But if I had time, I'd actually very much like to go around and then see all the different booths. There were a lot of interesting booths earlier from when I was walking towards the panel. But I enjoy going to these kinds of events precisely because sometimes, more often than not, I wind up learning something new. This goes back to my point about being open-minded, pro-innovation, because we don't know everything. You need to learn, and it is usually one of the better venues to learn would be at conferences, meetings like this. So hopefully I'll get a chance one of these days or later if my schedulers will let me to take a look around and then get a better feel of some of the innovations that are there. Thank you.
As I was saying, you are a very busy bee, so it doesn't surprise me that you're going to be stretched all over the place. But it's been amazing to have you here. You were at our award show last night. You're joining us here today. So thank you so much, Kelvin, for being here. We really appreciate it. So have a lovely rest of your day.
Okay. Thank you very much, Lee.